Hi, and you're welcome to another class. Not really another class, it's just a continuation of what we're already doing today, which is the introduction to design tools. And what we'll be considering right now is Canva as a design tool. Now, Canva is one of those tools that everybody knows about today. If you don't know about Canva, you're probably living under a rock, right? Because if you see all those social media designs that are so flashy and so beautiful out there, I can assure you that 80% of designs you see on social media are created on smartphones. Devices like this, very tiny, but then they are like a powerhouse that can help you get a lot of things done. Now, prior to now, a lot of tools were very difficult to get access to, say Photoshop, Illustrator, and the rest. And the breaking out of Canva made things easy for a lot of persons to be able to design without having to worry too much about having a laptop or getting a device bigger than your budget. And just from the comfort of your phone, you can actually make really great designs. So but why did all these kind of designs become so interesting to people is because from the comfort of your smartphone, you can get these things done. You don't have to rely on any designer out there to help you do these things. And for business owners or for someone who is trying to start up something from nothing, then it's something that you can actually employ. I got exposed to Canva in 2018 where I had a client work to submit and my laptop had an issue and the only option was use my smartphone, and I got onto the phone found Canva, and from the knowledge I had about design and Photoshop and the rest, it was easy to just navigate through Canva easily because they are very, very similar. We've talked about Photoshop not too long ago, and you see that everything works together. The knowledge you've gained from the fundamentals, the principles, also guide the use of these tools. So we'll be going into Canva very shortly, but I need to point out something to you, that design is more than just the way you put things together in tools. It's more than tools, it's a way of life. And right now for us, design is also a language with which we communicate our ideas, thoughts, and basically what we feel. So we're going into Canva in a bit, and Canva is available on mobile and on desktop. So just log on to www.canva.com and then you get access to Canva on desktop, or go to your Play Store or App Store and then you'll be able to get access to Canva on your smartphone. It's very, very, it's not that heavy, but it's a powerhouse. So we'll be jumping into the desktop version first, and then we just go through together to see what Canva does. So when you open your browser, just go ahead and search for Canva. You might go to canva.com directly or just search for Canva. Oh, my internet is disconnected. So I'll just get that connected ASAP. So one other thing I should note is that Canva operates only with the internet. So if you don't have internet access, you can use Canva, whether on your smartphone or on PC, so on desktop. Yeah, so I have Canva open up right here, and right off the bat, you would need to create an account. So if you've not created an account on Canva, go ahead and create one. And once you create an account, you see a window like this. Now, this window is quite interesting because it shows you, what will you want to design, or what will you design, and then you can always search things from here. Now, many people prefer you to use templates, but I advise you to actually do the thing from ground up, and we'll just go over it together. Now, Canva has two plans. There is the free plan, which is what we're using currently, and then there is the pro plan. Pro plan is something we can talk about later when we're going into real designs with Canva. And the next thing is, so you have your home, you have your projects. Now, these are projects that it shows you things you've done in the past, and there are quite a lot of things that I've done in the past, but more on that later. And then you have things that have been shared with you. Now, for the things that have been shared with you, someone shares a document with you or something, you can actually find it here. And then you have your trash, where you sort of keep things you no longer want to use. So back to home. Now, the things you need to sort of get about Canva is that the way you have other tools, you also have the layout and everything very similar to that of Photoshop. You have your toolbars, you have your tools when we get into the design interface itself. But then on the home interface, you have templates, a number of templates to actually cycle through. Then you also have features that you can actually try, images, icons, print, products, and all sorts. And then you can also learn, there are tutorials on Canva that you can always learn from, which is really great. So after this class, I would like you to actually take some time to go over the couple of tutorials that are available, so you get yourself enough time to learn these tools properly. And then pricing, which is, let's not bother ourselves with that. So how do you get started with Canva? After signing up and you've gotten to your home, by your far right, close to where you have your profile, right, you would see that there is a create a design icon, button. Click on it, and then it shows you what type of document you want to create. You can search, but instead of searching, we just go to custom size, and you impute the size you want. So let's do a 1080 by 1080 design. So you just type in 1080 by 1080. I'm very sure under design assets, you must have been told what this actually means, and then you can check pixels, inches, or whatever it is you want to go for. So we go for 1080 by 1080 design, and then you go ahead and create your design. Now on desktop, automatically Canva recreates a new tab for you. So you can go ahead and rename your tab at the top right corner and say OE Design with Us, or just OEDWU and Canva. Now, one thing I want to advise is that always learn to name your files the way it should be, because it can be really troublesome thing having to search for a file out of a million and one that you've created on Canva. And Canva knows this way, it does duplications and duplications of files, so be careful with that. Naming is very important. Now, once you've created your artboard, which is what they call it here, or in design generally, because of Photoshop, right? You would see that they will give you a couple of templates by your far left, and scrolling through this template just shows that, okay, there are a number of things to actually cycle through, but we'll be creating our own thing from scratch, and let's just go over, let's do a very simple design and then show you the tools that are available in Canva. Now, on the toolbar, you have templates, you have elements. Now, elements show you things like shapes, graphics, stickers, photos, videos, audio at some point, and then charts, and so many other things that you can actually go over. And then the next step to that is upload. So anything you've uploaded in the past from your phone or from your PC appear here. And the next thing now is typography type. Now you can see where you can add headings and so many other things here. So you have templates, but I advise that we go for, from ground up. And then you have backgrounds. So you can create backgrounds, your custom backgrounds, uploaded backgrounds. You find everything in here. And then rounding up, you now have, if you have Canva Pro, you can actually upload your own brand assets up here. And you have folders where you can easily sort out the things you want. So after all the sorting, you can see a lot of things here. And basically that is all about the toolbars. Now, if you go to the more, you just see a collection of other things that you can always try. And Canva is well integrated with a number of services, which means you can create a design in Canva and automatically upload to Instagram or other platforms. So yeah, so we just get started and we go to text. And under our text, first thing we need to do is add a heading. Now for under add a heading, once you click on it, it pops up on your artboard, and then you can always give it a name. So we say design with us. All right, now with this, what you need to do now is click on this and you'll be able to have access to the control bar, which is right above the artboard. Now for the control bar, that's where you get to control your text, and then you can see a number, like a lot of fonts available here. Now you can upload your own custom fonts just right beneath this whole thing, but that is available on only Canva Pro. So you can upload your custom fonts and just have things set out for yourself. So you just cycle through a couple of fonts. I'm someone who really loves Roboto. I know Leia loves Campton. You can upload your Campton if you have Canva Pro, but then let's just use Roboto for a start. Now we have design with us. And then, now mind you, every principle applies to Canva as well. So you have design with us. Instead of clicking add a subtitle or all these things every single time, you can always duplicate this one. So all you need to do is right click, copy, or Control C or Command C on Mac, and then you just paste, and then you have a duplicate. And once you have the duplicate, you can always select a different font type or font size depending on what you want. So let's say we just do the same thing for this one. Now with basic design principles, it's very important to have all your things sorted out while you're designing something. But while doing this show, we can show you that there are guidelines to these things, and as well show you the tools and the different spaces available for you to actually have access to. So design with us, I can change the font weight or the font size depending on what works for me, and I go with this. It's quite big, so you can always reduce it depending on what works for you. Now, the same process with designing on any other device, this is exactly the same thing. So you can see that the pink thing you can see on the screen, the pink guidelines, is just your guidelines showing you the borders that you can work with, and then it shows you whether you're center aligned or horizontally aligned, which is perfect. And if you go down as well, you see the margin, the guiding or the safe zones, which is really, really good. So we have this, and then you can always work on the weight. Now if you click on the bold, you see the weight changes. You click on the the italicized sign, it changes as well. You can underline, you can check different font options, and this is just the basics. It's very similar to every other design tool you use, just that it's simplified and straight to the point, no stress and no issues. Now you want to go with alignment, you follow the same process, alignment on different sizes, and you have it all that way. Now you can work with lists, you can work with bullets and numbers depending on what you want. And then one of the places I want us to just go over now is the last one, where you have the scaling or the spacing. Now for the spacing, we're talking about tracking and kerning. So under spacing, you have your line spacing. You can see it increases. I'll just bring this down so you can see it really well. It increases depending on what you want. And you've learned it in typography that you don't mess with type. Let it be the way it's supposed to be. If it's not visually balanced, just adjust it a little bit so you know what you're working on. And then you have the line spacing, just about the same thing, and you know what you're working with. So that's that on that. And then you can have your anchor text depending on where you want it to be anchored towards, whether it's upwards or down or towards the center, and you have everything in check. So I guess that's that on type. There is more. You can actually animate, but more on that when we go proper into the design. Now, still on the control toolbar, you have the positioning. Now for the positioning, you can actually align to the top of the page, the left, the middle, the bottom, the right, depending on what you want, or center to middle, and you get the design where it's supposed to be, which is really great. Now you can move things up or below, which is arrangement as you have it in other tools, where you arrange things above or below each other. So you have forward, you have backwards, which is below or above. And right after that, you have the copy sign or the copy style. Now, if I click on this copy style of this particular style, I want to duplicate it on this design with us down here. All I need to do is just click on it, and the style automatically copies. The same thing goes for when you select one, copy style, and it does the same thing to the other one. And to undo is Control Z. To redo is Control Y. Simple. Just the same way you have it in Microsoft Word. Not like Photoshop that you have to press Command, Control, Shift, and something else. So this is Canva. It's very simple, straight to the point. Now the last part I will go over is transparency. You can actually work on the transparency of whatever it is you're working on, and you have it go this way. As well, you have a way to link things. So if you're trying to work on a document, for example, I want to link things to a particular text in PDF form, this is where you use the link feature. You just put in the URL of what you want to link it to, and it does the linking for you. So Canva goes more than just a design, space. It literally combines the work of Photoshop, not so much of Illustrator, but Photoshop and InDesign or any other document producing application you use into a small form factor, and it gives you simplicity as you go. Now the last part now is having to lock, your elements, and then duplicate, just as I told you already. Instead of copying and pasting, you can just duplicate, and you can also delete things easily. Now, advancing, we have elements. Now, choosing elements, you just go to the far left corner and scroll through the list of elements you have here. Now, we'll go to shapes, see all. It shows you all the shapes you have here, and you can always select shapes in different sizes, in different colors, depending on whatever it is you want. Now, we have this shape, for example, and want to change the color of the shape. Click on the shape you're working on, and then under the control toolbar, click on it, and then you can see the multiple colors you have available for you to work with. Now you can always input your own Xcode for your designs or for your brand. If you have Canva Pro, you can actually input your brand colors right from the start. But then let's just add a different type of color, and then you can always see, you can input your Xcode here, your X here, and just have something written there. So let's say 00 BABA, it gives us teal, which is what I work with most times. If I say FF 011, it gives us a little bit of red. And you just work on whatever it is that works for you. You can also move, the bars here to just give you the desired result you want. So this is pretty much one of those things that you need to really get right, your color and everything. So go back to your color class and get up to date about the entire operations. Same thing goes for the different colors. Now you have your colors here, and through your toolbar, you can actually get access to all these things. And that's pretty much it for color. Now we go to backgrounds. You want to add backgrounds. You want to change the background of whatever it is you're working on. Look for the background you're looking for, which is whatever it is you search for, and then just click on it, and then it automatically replaces what is on your background, just like that. With ease, no pressure, no worries. It does everything for you at the click of a button. So it's up to you now to know how you want to piece your designs together, and using the design principles, the guidelines, everything applies to these tools as well. They give you the margins, they give you the borders and everything, so you can always work based on the guidelines. Now the last thing we'll go over now is exporting or trying to just share things in Canva. Now if you come to the far right corner, you see the share icon. Click on it, and then you can see the options available. So you can download, you can share on social media, and the more options shows you how you can actually get things done. Now you can also use Canva for document preparation and a little bit of presentation where you want to present documents. And if I click on this full screen present mode, just right below me, I think the picture is covering it right now. But then once you click on it, it goes to presentation mode, and then you can cycle through different pages as you will. And that's pretty much it for this. Now, Canva is also available on mobile. And for the mobile part, I should state that it's a little bit different, but you get convenient with it over time. Now I'll be switching into Canva on mobile just to get room about what Canva Mobile does, and I'll be jumping into my phone to give you a quick demonstration ASAP. So we are in Canva Mobile now, and the first thing you should learn is that Canva is an application. Once you have the application installed, you click on it and it opens up Canva for you. Now you see the interface is not all that different, but even with the interface here, you can see the options, the templates are a whole lot that you can always cycle through. And Canva has become so pro that they give you things that you really need. They don't give you rubbish. You have everything you need at the click of a button. So the same process, you have this is the home, and right under my finger you have your projects. Under your projects, you can see the things you've done, your designs, and then you see Canva Pro as well. And then you can see more options on what you can actually try, which is your own dashboard or your own profile. So under home, there is a plus sign in purple. Click on it and it shows you suggested designs that you can always give. And if you click on create custom size like we did, you do 1080 by 1080, 1080 by 1080 again, and you create new design. And pretty much you already have Canva opened up on your smartphone. And now the first thing it does for you is it brings up templates. Now don't follow templates, please. It's just an advice. Sorry, a call came in. Don't follow templates, right? So once you're in here, you can always just click the plus sign and then you can see all the options available. You have templates, you have elements, you have camera roll, you have uploads, and basically you have every other thing that we've talked about on Canva desktop, backgrounds and the rest. So we just go through the same process. For text, you go to add, and then you can just change this to design with us. Done. Once you have that, you click on the edit. You can always edit it that way, and then if you want to just change anything about this, click on it, and then you can see the options right below my hand here. So you go to font, and then you can select the font you want, and let's use Loveto this time around. Yeah, it looks pretty chilled. And then the same thing, you can change font size, you can move the bar, whichever way you want it, and then you can always use your hand to just move on the screen to position it where it's supposed to be. Now, design with the desktop, with the mobile app, is more flexible because you have use of more of your ends, which makes it interesting. And then the last thing now is we go to color, and you can always change the color of your text. I didn't mention that for Canva desktop, but it's pretty much the same thing. So we change the color. O and E, design with us is a little bit of blue, so we use this. And then your format, bold, underline, align, whichever way you want it, bullets, and then straightforward. And then the last thing now is we talk about spacing. The same way we have it on desktop, we have it here as well. And I told you that Canva is available on both devices, which means whatever it is you create on your desktop automatically appears on your smartphone. So everything is here. You want to position, left align, whichever way you want it, it's done. And then the last thing now is there's a new feature called nudge, which allows you to move things in detail. Like, you can see I'm holding on it, is moving little by little, because you can't really do so much with the way you move your hands, especially if you have small, elements. So nudge is one of the things that allows you to move up to the side, to the left, or to the right to get your alignment right. Now, the last thing we'll go over now is seeing how the Canva desktop and Canva mobile syncs. So if you go back to home, you would see it right there. Recent designs, see all, and then if the design is saved, you can see it right here. OE Design with Us Canva. Once I click on it, you would see this is the design we did on desktop, and now it's available here on mobile. And that's pretty much how you can always move things from your desktop to your smartphone easily. And this is a solution I saw for me in particular when I was using an iPhone but a Windows laptop. All I needed to do was just design on desktop and then come to the Canva and then download it directly to my smartphone. Sometimes I even upload pictures to Canva and download directly because it was stress just moving files anyway. So this is pretty much everything you need to understand about Canva. When we start design proper of the ads and the other things we're working on, you would see that there is more room for you to express yourself with your smartphone. It's in your hands, it's on the go, and it makes things easy for you. So this is the end of the introduction to Canva. There are more designs to come, and I really hope that you learn more about the tools. And I'll just say this in closing, that Canva is more than just a design app. You can actually do video editing in Canva. You can do audio production in Canva. Put together subtitles and a couple of other things that you can do in InShot. You can actually also do it in Canva, and it makes life easy for you. So that's about it for the introduction. Thank you for staying with me. And if you have any questions, please direct them to the Discord.
Okay, good afternoon. Can you hear me? Am I live? Okay. Oh, good afternoon, please. If you can hear me, please, I would love you to drop a comment in the comment section. If I'm audible enough. While waiting for your response, by the virtue of introduction, I'm Oluwatobi, and I think this is the first time we will be. Okay, is it okay like this? Okay, so I think this is the first time we'll be interfacing here, and just briefly for the next 30 minutes, we'll just be walking through Photoshop and some basic things we will need in our class going further. So to everybody that chose the add option when they were registering, I think you will frequently be seeing our save more, faces more, but while we continue today, so we'll just be looking at Photoshop in overview. So I'm still waiting for response. Okay, yes. Thank you. So they will be sharing my screen now. So Photoshop, it's a really great tool. I believe everybody enjoyed the Canva class we just finished. That was insightful, though short but powerful, and which I learned quite a number of things there too. So while we continue with Photoshop, Photoshop in a sense of it is not as hard as some of us might have had it in mind, that okay, the almighty Photoshop. Although Photoshop is quite, it has a lot of things, a lot of tools, like everything you need to do, things you need to do. So basically we'll just be perusing the interface today. We'll be going a lot more deeper in subsequent classes, but for today, let's just check around things and let's see how it is done. So I want you to just take away the fear of, okay, probably Photoshop is quite hard or difficult to know. I'm saying this because we have people that are just beginning, that are just interfacing with Photoshop for the very first time. So that's why I'm taking my time to just explain this. Just, you necessarily don't need to know everything. Design is first conceptual, then secondly the tool they are using. Though a good knowledge of the tool is very important, but once you have the concept you are trying to achieve, I think half of your problem is solved. The remaining, you can easily go online and search how to do things. So basically, let's dive into Photoshop and see how things is being done. So sharing my screen, when you log in, when you open your Photoshop for the very first time, I think this is what you will be seeing. Okay, can we all see my screen yet? Okay, please let me know when the screen is live. Can you see my screen? Okay, I'm not seeing it here. Photoshop. Okay. Okay, so my Photoshop screen is from here. Okay, it's extended. Oh, sorry. Okay, so can you see now? Okay, thank you. Okay, so thanks so much. This is Photoshop. This Photoshop 2022. I believe we are using versions quite earlier than this. You should also be seeing almost the same thing. So um, basically, we'll be going through some layers of things I want us to touch today. The basic tools, which covers how to type and how to use basic shapes in Photoshop. So if you launch Photoshop for the very first time, this is what you'll be seeing. Whereas you can create a new file, which is what the basic things we want to do. So it's either you you click new file here, or you come to file and click new. So on clicking new file, this is what you will see. This is recent files. For example, I've done some work on this Photoshop, and these are the pixels and the sizes I used. So here you have to select size that you will use. So if you come to this right hand side, you will see pixels, inches, centimeters, and all. So these are dimensions which we can use in Photoshop for any design we want to make. As we know, we can make designs in Photoshop, illustrations. As you see, they said photo, print, arts, illustration, web, mobile, film, and video. So the tool is to what you want to use it for. Is an editing tool for photographers. Is a designing tool for designers. So basically, that's just how it goes. People that do videos use it to, in case they want to design their the templates, the lower thirds, and all, which they will eventually animate in After Effects or any software they want to use. So we have pixel, we have inches, we have centimeters, we have millimeters, we have points and picas. So for example, most times when we are doing screen designs, we mostly design in screen, and the major sizes are 1080 by 1080, 1080 by 1350, either portrait or landscape. That's the standard social media sizes. So, but today we'll be dealing too much on 1080 by 1080, depending on anything you want to do actually. Then the resolution is 300 pixel per inch, which represents the number of dots you have in 1 inch. That is, we have, most times when they are measuring screens, you hear 300 dpi, 150 dpi. That's most times talking about the number of dots you have in inches. Let me show you what that means. If I create and we zoom in so much, let me clear the background. We zoom in so much, so you can easily see the dots now. So the pixel we picked the other time is talking about the number of pixels that is showing in 1 inch. So we chose 300 because most times is 72 sufficient for screen designs, but we know how clients here does. They might tell you, okay, this thing is just only for mobile, and before you know it, you already see it on banner, you already see it on handbill and all, and you are wondering, but you said this thing is for screen and it's pixelated, so it's good to play it safe most of the time. Whereas we just use 300 pixel per inch, you can never go wrong with that. So once you choose that, so we have inches, centimeters, millimeter, point, and picas. So let me talk briefly about inches. For example, you are trying to print a very large size banner, and they give you the size in feet. Most times when you want to print large size banner and all, the size is always in feet. So the conversion of feet to inches is always 12 inch make 1 feet, 12 inches rather make 1 foot, 12 inches make 1 foot. So we make the calculation and we impute the size. But as time goes on, I will still tell you on how to do it in such a way that your system will not just be slowing down and hanging in case you are using directly the same banner size they are giving you in Photoshop. So as I've said earlier, for today we'll just be sticking with 1080 by 1080. So once we create, then you're welcome to Photoshop. This is how it looks like. So here are the major menu, like the top level menu. Everything in Photoshop is deeply rooted in all these menus we have at the top. So, but we have a quick menu which we have on the side. this quick menu is a shortcut to most of the things you might want to go and do inside of all this main menu at the top. So we'll be focusing more of our attention on the sidebar and this other one we have on the side. But if you are using Photoshop and your own Photoshop is not like this, there's a way I love to use my Photoshop, which is not a set in stone. You can easily use it in as much as what fits you or what is easy for you. I like to see my navigator at the top, at the right top here. Then after that, my layers. Then every other thing can come to this side. How am I doing this? Once you just hold the tab, you can just click and drag, maybe an empty space like this. If you click on all these individual tabs, you will just drag it out and it becomes a separate dialogue on its own, but you have it like this, then we are good to go. So basically, the first thing I want us to do in Photoshop is, if you look at this side menu, the first thing is the move tool. For people that are coming from maybe CorelDRAW background, I know that basically we necessarily don't need move tool so much because it's by default selected. By clicking anything on the interface, you can easily select anything you need. But in Photoshop, if you are not using auto select, you can see where my mouse is. If you are not using auto select, then you will be making use of this move tool very well. Then we have, under the move tool, we have the artboard tool. Artboard tool is like our design space on Photoshop. This we have on our screen is one artboard. For example, if I'm doing one design but I need a lot of iteration, maybe I've sent the first sample to the client and it's saying, okay, why can't we do it this other way, but I still want to preserve my original idea, I can easily create other artboards. So by now, I'm having two artboards here. So I'm having two artboards here where I can easily express myself and do my design. So that's what this artboard tool is for. Once you click and drag, you can easily create artboard. Then it doesn't necessarily your artboard is in the same dimension. You can easily create an artboard like this. For example, you've done a design in Square, then they said, okay, they need it for maybe Facebook banner. You can easily put it side by side, do the design and export everything at the end of the day. So that's the usefulness of artboard tool, and so many other things we'll still touch in later time. So let me click on you see this thing we call T here, and if you look at all these tools, anytime you see an arrow pointing down, it means there are still more tools embedded inside that place. So if you long press or right click, you will see other tools popping out. So here we have the horizontal type tool, we have the vertical type tool, we have the vertical mask type tool, which most times I don't use all these masks tool, but basically we use the horizontal type tool and the vertical type tool. So the horizontal type tool, so you can either type a display text or your paragraph text. How do I create my display text? Display text are the big text that are always showing up in your design, something very big that you can easily manipulate and scale up. Paragraph text is when your text is becoming too much, or your text you're having more than maybe 4 or 5 words, making that sentence like it's really bulky, then you use paragraph text. So to create your display text, once you click once, you see it brings this up, then really big, I can click design and you type your design. So when you are done typing, you might want to change the font and everything. You should notice something. The second tab we have underneath here is the property tab. It changes depending on tool we've selected here. So what does that mean? If I'm on my move tool, you notice that the items we have here is different from when I select my artboard tool, and the same thing happens when I click my type tool. Automatically you notice that I'm having my font here, then the font variation, the variation of the typeface, then the font size, then we have this, then we have okay our alignment either center, right or left, then we can easily change the color here. Then if I want to warp my text, this is what this one for. So basically that's about that. So design. So I come back to my selection tool, which is my move tool, to move it around. I'm having it like this, but this thing is so much, it's so big that it's covering my whole screen. The character panel that I like using is the one we have on this side. In case you are checking your own Photoshop and you can't see it on this side, just come straight to window and look for character, window, character, then you will see this popping up. So in this first one is our font, our typeface, the font name, where you can see all the fonts that you have on your system. The second one here is the font variation. So let me use the font Campton. So these are the variations of the Campton fonts I have here in case I want to use thin and all. So this is the font size. If I want to increase the size to be so big, I can come here. So 72 is the largest we have here, but you can easily come inside here and type what you want. So for example, let me say I'm going as up as 250. Let me see what that looks like. So you see, so this is 250 points. So let me come back to 30. So now when it was on 30, it's off screen. So once you just drag, in as much as it's selected on the layer, once you just drag, it's come on the screen to 48. So I can easily click again and do with us. So when you are done typing most of the time, you can easily click the checkbox here, or if you want to use shortcut on your computer, instead of moving mouse around, you can press Ctrl. On Mac, you press Command Enter, Ctrl Enter or Command Enter, Ctrl Enter or Command Enter. So basically that's how that is done. So that's how to type your display text. So for example, I want to have a bunch of text underneath here, so I can always click and drag. You know, when we're creating display text, we just click once and we type what we want. But now, when I want to create a paragraph text, rather, I click and drag. I hope that's clear. There's a difference between the two. I click and drag. So, clicking and drag, I have this. I can easily reduce the font to maybe something like 12. So now what I type is welcome to Photoshop introductory class. This is what I type, but we notice that once we get to Photoshop, we can't see the rest of our text. Why? I remember when this should be a reminder for us when we were having our introductory classes, when typography was taught. You remember they called something leading. Like, does anybody remember leading? Like, what leading means? Like, can I get response in the comment section? What leading means? What leading means? What leading means? So basically, not to waste our time, leading is I know most of us are familiar with Microsoft Word. Leading is like our line height. What do I mean by that? Like the space between lines. So, for example, if you look at our character panel that we have here, we have 12. We have 12, which is our font size. But if you look at immediately beside your 12, please, I don't know if there's a way we can zoom in. Yeah, thank you, Esther Moses. Space between lines, space between text and baseline. Yeah, that's spot on. That's right on point. So, how do we adjust that in Photoshop? That's what I want to touch briefly now. Okay, so, thank you. This place we're having 154 and our font size is 12. So which means the space between our lines is not even double line spacing. With the look of things now, it's like 10 times the line spacing that we are meant. It's like 12 times 12, because 12 times 12 is 144. So if we bring it down, we should see the remaining text. You notice that all my tests are elected Control A, Command A on Mac, Control A on Windows. So I can easily come down and select Auto. So automatically we can see the rest of the text. Welcome to Photoshop introductory class. So basically this is what I have. Then then we have tracking. That space between each words. So that's what we are having here as -12. If I put it to 0, then I can come to paragraph here. Then either I want to do right align, left align, center alignment, then justify center, justify right, then full justify, in which we have this unnecessary gutter here, which we don't want. Then you will be wondering what this hyphenate means. If you have a whole lot of text, let me just duplicate this. If you notice something in front of our well, there's a dash, which is hyphen. It's telling us that, okay, this word is welcome, but because this space here cannot contain it, then it wraps the rest to the other line. There are times that this is very, very useful, but most times we might not want it, and by just clicking hyphenate, you notice that it's removed already. So let's use our left align, Ctrl Z, Ctrl Z. I hope we get that. That's the work of the hyphenate. We'll still touch more on all these other ones. These ones are for indentation. You know, when you are doing your bullet and numbering in Microsoft Word. So basically that's what all those ones are for. So we have this like this. Welcome to Photoshop introductory class. Now we cannot use this font weight because it's quite small. Then let me use something, maybe book here is like regular. So if I want to adjust things I've done already, this is design, this is with us. So everything you do in Photoshop is a layer-based software. Someone will still come up to talk about Illustrator, but Photoshop is a layer-based software, which is a raster-based software. Everything is layer on layer. So all we do is, okay, we try to place it in such a way that each layers have their own space. So the design that I typed is on one layer, then with us is on another layer. Then our paragraph text, which is welcome to Photoshop introductory class, is on another layer. Then we have it like this. So everything together like that. So imagine I want to perform an operation that will affect both design and with us together. Then I will have to come to my layer panel here, as we can see where my mouse is. Once you click on design, just the same way we want to, just the same way you select your files in your folder, you press shift, then you can click the next one, or control. For example, I want to select everything. Let me duplicate with us. So we are not seeing it on our layer on our artboard where the whole thing is showing, because everything is on the same line, like audio with us. They are on top of themselves, so it will be showing as one. That's why it's a layer-based software. Every layer, it is layered upon layer. So once I click, now I want to select everything till this welcome to Photoshop introductory class. Once I press shift on my keyboard and I click, you notice that everything in between design and welcome to Photoshop introductory class is selected, and I can easily move everything around together. But imagine I want to click with us copy 5, with us copy 3. How do I do that? And if I hold shift, you notice that everything is selected. But once I click with us copy 5, with us copy 3, so what I'm doing to select this is by pressing Control or Command on Mac, Control on Windows or Command on Mac. Then you can easily select that. So here, this with us that we are having at the top is 3. So how do I do this just now? What I did just now, if you want to transform in Photoshop, that is scale things up or down, you can easily press Ctrl T. Ctrl T is for transform, or come to edit and you choose free transform. Come to edit and you choose free transform. You will need this a lot, and there's a whole lot of options embedded in this which we'll touch as time goes on. But I don't want a situation in which, okay, so someone said he's not understanding. So you can just drop your question on the comments in case anything is not clear. I hope I'm not too fast, but our time is really short here today, and I'm trying to cover as much as we can. So in case anything is not clear to you, you can easily drop the question. Daniel, thanks so much. I cite you. So once you press Ctrl T, it brings out all these how many corners? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 thereabouts, which you can easily use to manipulate your text up or down. You can click up, click down, click. So that's how that is done. So with us, then basically, so easily with your Photoshop, you can easily type anything you want on your Photoshop. So typing or bringing up text in your Photoshop shouldn't be a problem. In case you don't want a layer again, for example, this copy 4 and copy 2, you can easily click on it and press delete key on your keyboard. Once you press delete key on your keyboard, it's gone, and it's gone forever. So that's that about that. It's done. So we are done with the text tool. Then we have the shape tool. So once you the T denotes the text tool, then we have the shape tool, the rectangle. If you long click, we have the rectangle, we have the ellipse tool, we have the triangle tool, we have the polygon tool. So let me start with the rectangle tool. So it's easy. Once you click the rectangle tool here and you want to draw your rectangle, just click and drag. It's either you click once like this and it asks you what dimension do you want. You can easily input the dimension, the width and the height, and the radius of the edges. these are your corner radius. So let me just click OK. Then my rectangle is created. This is my rectangle. So this is my rectangle, and if you look at the layer panel here, you can easily see rectangle here. You can easily see rectangle here. You can easily see your rectangle on your layer panel. Okay, Moses, I've been trying to do these things, but I can't even click on my text. I can't highlight it. Ooh. Okay, so let me just rush through the text creation thing again. Once you see your text here and you click on it, then you can easily click once to type maybe your design, or you click the text tool. Then instead of just clicking once, you find space for yourself. You notice that once I move my cursor on an existing text, the cursor change from an icon with a shape around it to just that text cursor. I don't know if you take notes, please, if you can help me zoom in so they can see. I don't know if you notice. So basically, that's how that is done. So once you move on it, maybe I want to edit it. Instead of design with us, is now design with me. Then I can easily do it like that. But if my text is, if I'm having an empty space without any text underneath it, you see that it's easy for me to just click and drag and create my own new text. Yeah, so that's just the difference. So you might be encountering some of those problems. So once you click on an existing text with your text tool, you have welcome to intro, then you can easily edit things and shift things up. Okay, let's change it back to 2. So basically that's that. So once you click, you can easily click and create your text design, or click and drag. I believe if you go through the recording again, you should be able to get a hang of how things are done. But if you still have if you still need further clarification, you can easily make things known on the Discord channel. So we have so I'm presently talking on shape, so I won't forget. So if you want to create a rectangle or any shape, just come here, click on the shape you need, and click and drag, and click and drag. If you come here, if it's ellipse that we need, so if you want to create circle, it's still the same tool you will use. Once you click and drag, this is ellipse, and once you click, this is our circle. So ellipse is that shape that has two radius. We have the big radius and we have the small radius, but the difference between ellipse and circle is all our radius are uniform. And how do I draw that? You notice that just clicking is giving me all these abnormal shape, and should I call it abnormal shape, but my shapes are not regular. So how do I do it? I can easily click, and by holding shift, you see I already have a perfect circle on the screen, which once I'm satisfied with the shape size, I can easily drop it. Then if I want to draw a star, okay, this rectangle, I can click and drag. Then we have polygons. What is polygons? Polygons are shapes with many sides. So we notice that, okay, polygon doesn't just have 5 sides like the one we have on screen now, but okay, what I click to get to the shape, you notice that immediately after your text tool, you will see a particular rectangle tool right underneath it. Depending on your Photoshop, you like immediately after it there's a pick tool, which is your part selection tool. Then after it is your shape tool. Then if you are not getting it like that, the shortcut is U. By pressing U on your keyboard, it automatically selects your shape tool. It automatically selects your shape tool. Let's look at it again. So I'm on my moved tool, which the shortcut is V to get to it most of the time. Now I want to move to my shaped tool. This is my shape tool here. I can easily press U on my keyboard, and you see automatically I come to my rectangle. Our time is fast spent today. I was meant to have we have gone past this point, but I think we just make do what we have. So so I was talking about polygon. So once we click on polygon, we notice that once we draw, we have 5 sides, but most times we need more than 5 sides. We need like maybe 8 or 6. So you can easily come to your property tool up here. You see we have 5. You can easily turn it to 8, and 8 is what in terms of polygon? 8 is octagon too, if that's needed for this class anyways. So you see this kind of shape more when you are using when you are doing most times in road signs. So imagine I want to change the color of this shape, polygon. I can easily come to the layer tool, to the layer panel rather, to the layer panel. You will see a white box here. You can double click it. Then I have red. Now I can draw another one on top of it. Increase it, Ctrl T. Once you select two layers and you want to align them, then all these things will be active once you're on your move tool. This is for center alignment, that all of them will have the same center, will be aligned to the same center. This one is aligned to the vertical center. So we have the horizontal center and we have the vertical center. So to the horizontal center, both of them are aligned on the same horizontal center and vertical center. Clicking these two makes them perfectly aligned to the center on top of themselves. So I can easily double click this particular box, which I checked the other time. Once you double click it, let me do it again. On your polygon, this particular icon that is showing your shape on the side, once you double click it, you can change the color. So I've changed the color to white. Then I can duplicate it again. Then the shortcut to duplicate, instead of drawing another shape, is Ctrl J. Ctrl J duplicate in Photoshop. Then once you press Ctrl T, it brings out this transform tool, and you can shift click and reduce it again. Then you have this. Then you can easily change the color to red or anything you want it. So with this, imagine I want to create a dart board in such a way that, okay, there are several circles in which they are like points in which our darts can land on. So it's still the same process. So that's how to create shape. So we learned how to create shape. We learned how to duplicate. Okay, so sorry for the break in transmission. I think our network just decided to play Nigeria on us, so yeah, sorry. So continuing with the class, I can see someone comment that says he can barely understand. So I really don't know. We are still at the surface level of this class, and sorry I'm a bit under rush. We have just 30 minutes actually to touch a software as vast as Photoshop. I really don't know, but I believe we will have subsequent classes where we can do more on this. Just try and check this video again. Basically, just understand how to do your text, draw your shape. Basically, I'll try as much as possible to pick it up from here the next time we are meeting. So our time is they're already signaling to me, and I think this is all we will have today. Thank you very much for joining on us. This is not the end of the class, by the way. There's still someone coming up now to take us on illustration or Illustrator, one of the two. So thank you very much. Thanks for your time. Hope to see you in the next class. Don't worry if you don't understand quite well today. I understand. I will try and go a bit slower the next time, but I'm not promising you I will be slower than this the next time. But just brace up. Try and check one or two things. There will be resources dropped on our Discord channel. Thank you very much for today. I'm Oluwatobi. See you next time. Remember to like and subscribe to the channel.